There are things on old tapes that were never meant to be seen. Lost footage, banned episodes, things they try to bury, not because they're dangerous, but because they're too real. Sunnyville Park was just another cheerful kids show. Until someone found an episode that doesn't exist. No listings, no broadcast history, just a tape and a warning. Tonight, you're going to see what they tried to erase. But once you do, don't say I didn't warn you, because Mr. Always watches. Always. The tape looked harmless enough. A faded label, slightly peeling at the corners, was stuck across the front of the battered VHS case. It read, Sunnyville Park, EP11X. Below that, scrawled in red ink, as if by a trembling hand, were 3 words. Do not watch. I found it at a flea market, tucked under a pile of 90s cartoons and obscure home recordings. The seller didn't say much, only that it had been in a box from an old local TV station's clearance sale. I laughed at the warning, figured it was a prank, or a collector's oddity. When I got home, I dusted off my old VCR, popped in the tape, and pressed play. At first, it looked like any other episode of Sunnyville Park. Bright colors, bouncy music, and the cheerful voices of Daisy the duck, Barry, the bear, and Timmy the turtle. They were laughing, playing tag in the meadow, sunflowers swaying under the cartoon sun. Everything seemed normal, until it wasn't. Around the 3-minute mark, the music slowed, just slightly. So subtle, I thought. It was my VCR acting up. But then, Timmy the turtle froze mid-sentence. His smile stayed plastered on his face, eyes wide. The background began to fade, colors draining like ink in water, until all that was left was a desaturated world. The cheerful characters now, standing motionless in the center of a gray field. Then the screen cut to black. No static, no transition, just black. A child's voice whispered, "He's coming." A slow, rhythmic knock echoed. Once, twice, 3 times. The screen flickered back to life, except this time the animation style was different, off. The lines were harsher, shaky, almost hand-drawn, but in a frantic, rushed way. The colors were still gone, replaced by dull grays and muted reds. And that's when I first saw him. Mr. Always. He didn't belong in Sunnyville Park. He stood much taller than the other characters. Too tall. His neck was elongated, his head tilted, sharply to one side like it had been twisted. He wore a black suit with long coattails that swayed slightly, even though there was no wind. His face, it had no eyes, just hollow, sunken sockets. A wide, static smile stretched impossibly across his face. The other characters didn't move. They stared at him, paralyzed. Daisy's eyes filled with tears. Barry's paws trembled. Mr. Always raised a finger, long, pale, jointed in too many places, and pointed directly at the screen. At me, then he spoke. His voice was deep and distorted, like someone recorded it underwater and slowed it down. You watched. Suddenly, the camera panned across the park, but the trees were wilting. The grass had turned black. The once bright sun now bled across the sky like an open wound, and scattered around the meadow were copies of Daisy, Barry, Timmy, but twisted, mangled, their smiles sewn open, limbs missing, eyes gouged out, with X's scribbled where their pupils used to be. Mr. Always hovered above them, arms stretched wide like a showman. "They forgot me," he whispered, "but I never forget." The show continued, each frame more unstable than the last. The animation broke down entirely at times, showing flashes of real images. A child's bedroom, dark and cluttered. A hallway light flickering. A close-up of someone's face. Eyes wide, mouth open in a scream. but no sound. The tape seemed to be glitching, but these images weren't from the cartoon. They felt too real. Then came the segment that chilled me to the core. Mr. Always stood in the schoolhouse, the same place where all Sunnyville episodes ended with the lesson of the day. But the chalkboard was cracked, the desks were overturned, and Daisy sat in the corner, whispering over and over. He watches us every day. He knows who forgets. He knows who laughs. Mr. Always slowly turned to the screen and said, "Children grow up. They stop watching. They stop believing. But I stay." And then, in a tone almost affectionate, he whispered, "And now, so will you." I tried to eject the tape. The button didn't work. The screen flashed with static, but the audio continued playing. A melody began, one I recognized. It was the Sunnyville theme, but warped in reverse and layered with crying. The screen showed a list of names, hundreds of them, scrolling fast, and then it stopped. On mine, my full name, spelled perfectly. I don't know how. I hadn't typed anything. Then just one frame. A single, still image. Me, sitting on my couch, staring at the screen, captured from behind. I turned around instantly. No one was there. The lights flickered. My phone buzzed. One new notification. From an unknown number. It simply said, "Always watching." I didn't sleep that night. Couldn't. I yanked the tape out, tossed it into a fire pit the next morning and watched it melt. But even now, days later, strange things keep happening. The theme song plays faintly at 3:33 a.m. every night from my living room, even though I've unplugged every device. Sometimes my TV turns on by itself, only static. And once, just once, I heard a knock. 3 slow knocks. When I opened the door, no one was there. But in the middle of the hallway lay a small drawing, crayon on paper, of me, surrounded by the Sunnyville characters, all crying. And in the corner, Mr. Always, darts smiling. I reached out to the TV station. No record of Sunnyville Park ever having an episode 11X. I asked around in forums. A few people mentioned seeing strange unaired episodes, but none remembered Mr. Always. One person said he had seen something like that in 1999, but his message cut off mid-thread. His account deleted. Every once in a while, someone finds the tape. A cousin of a friend, a yard sale find, a box in Grandma's attic. And every time, they vanish. Not entirely. No. They're still here. Somewhere. But if you ever catch a flash of movement on your screen, if you feel like you're being watched when the credits roll, if you hear that warped theme song playing faintly in the dark, don't turn around. He's already behind you. Because once you've seen him, Mr. Always never leaves. You watched the tape, just like they did. And now he knows you too. So if the lights flicker, if the old TV hums, if someone knocks 3 times when no one should be there, don't answer, don't move, and whatever you do, never forget his name.